Now, time for today's perspective on the programme. And we're going to meet a woman today who says she wakes up every morning and thanks God that she's still alive. Nonhle Mbuthuma says her husband and friends have told her to go into hiding, but that is something she cannot even consider. Why? Well, she's fighting to protect her homeland in South Africa's Eastern Cape, fighting to protect it against miners who want to put an open-cast mine on the Amadiba coast to dig for titanium. Now, the mine would bring, some argue, much-needed jobs and developments in the region, but our guest today says the people who live there are opposed and that the Australian company aiming to move in should respect that and leave the area alone. Well, thanks very much for joining us on the programme today. Just explain to us, first of all, why you're so passionate about your cause here. I don't know if you heard me there. I was saying, explain to us why you're so passionate about your cause.
Oh, hi. Good morning. You know, our struggle, it's been going on for quite a long time. And the reason we are so passionate to be strong, and it takes like more than 25 years, is because the land, it's our identity, it's our heritage. The land is everything. If the mining company want to come and take the land away from us, it takes away our identity. That is why we said that we don't want the mining. And also, we're not saying that we want benefits from the mining company. We said no to the mining. But our South African government just denied that as citizens, we have a right to say no to mining, because they are just keep pushing, no matter what the people of Kolobeni is saying. It's seemingly the only rights, the only people they have rights are the investors than the people.
And it's become very violent, this struggle, hasn't it? I was reading some comments from Amnesty being very critical of the South African police over a demonstration that you held recently.
You know, that's why I'm saying that they just having a denial that as South Africans we have a right to say no or to choose our own development, because on the 23rd September, where the Minister of the Department of Minerals and Energy was visiting Kolobeni, and it turned sour because their intention was to impose a development in the heads of the people without even giving the people to give a consent, because we know that we know ourselves what is good for us. But it's clear that our government, they are not willing to let the people to govern, although the slogan says people shall govern. But it's always coming from them. And they were just bringing quite a lot of police, and some of us being tear gas, and some of us being arrested, you know, because we're not going to just let anybody to move us from the land. That land, it's been inherited by our ancestors. We've staying there for centuries now. Why the profit is so important than our lives?
Everybody needs profit and money nowadays to a certain extent, though, don't they? I mean, what do you say to those people who say that actually jobs and development is very important for the area and for individuals?
You know, when you look at the mining is just a short term. And they always say that mining is going to create jobs. But you can ask yourselves, what kind of jobs and how many jobs? Because in these days, the technology is very high. It will be very few jobs that are going to be created. And we're going to lose everything that nobody's going to replace, and nobody's going to bring it back what we're going to lose just for few jobs. And those jobs are not going to sustain us, as right now we sustain ourselves. We are not dependent on anybody. And if mining, and I understand that South African, their economy, it relies on mining, but there's so many mines. Those mines are already operating. Why they keep starting new mines? What is the reason behind? Because we can sustain as a country with those mines are already operating. Why they can't think that there is tomorrow? It's not only today, because even those mining are already operating. There's some huge negative impact in terms of environment, but they are still keeping going ahead in order to mines and mines and mines. How are we going to survive as a country if the whole country is being mined?
I know as well that you believe there's a racial element to this as well, a kind of a hangover, if you like, from the apartheid era.
You know, for me, before 1994, our region was called Transkei. And Transkei was independent, and it was under a dictatorship where KD Matanzima was a premier of the region, and he used to force our people to move out from the land. He was using the same tactics, using the police, using dogs of the police, tear gas people. But I was so surprised on the 23rd of September 2018, on this democracy, the same system in my own presence is still happening, because it's ashamed, honestly, because we have a good constitution that it protects the rights of South Africans, but we don't see that it's happening. The constitution, it's very good, it's there, but to come to implement is something else. That is why the Sunday meeting was turned sour, because we think that we protected in terms of the constitution, but it's clear it's not. The constitution is just protected only individuals, not the whole South Africans.
And finally, what do you feel more generally about companies, moving in, and countries indeed moving in and investing in Africa as a whole? I mean, we've reported a lot recently here on France 24, for example, about China moving into various different countries. I mean, do you see that as a positive thing or not?
I see it's a negative thing. I don't see it's a positive, because right now, if you see the minerals are being extracted here in Africa, are not helping Africa as a country, as a continent. It's just helping the other countries, but Africa just left poor and worse than before. What is the use of us to take the minerals out from the country? Because when those minerals come back, are very expensive. We can't even afford even to buy those minerals. But they just keep saying that it's boosting the economy. Who is economy? Is economy for those investors? And that is why here at Amadiba, we said that we rather die than to just let go the land that it feeds us and it sustains us, than to allow the mining company to take place, because it's not going to help us at all. Instead, it's going to change our lives from better to worse.
Thanks very much for being with us. Great to have you with us on the programme today. Nonhle Mbuthuma joining us there live from South Africa for today's Perspective. Thanks again.